Welcome to Notes from the Underground here in San Diego. We have an opportunity to be with one of the best tour companies around in the new gold rush, which is MJTours. Also, we get a chance to talk to a guy from Gemmacert. Gemmacert will be the testing lab and testing opportunities that are out there for your flowers, so you know where they're coming from, including the pesticides, including the soil, and also the THC level. So folks, sit back, relax, and enjoy Notes from the Underground.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Yep, good to go.
Your DJ has only just begun.
Folks, again, welcome back here to Notes from the Underground here at beautiful SDRC. But before you even get a chance to check out this facility, you might want to take the MJTours. And that's right, MJTours. And we are here with Kaylina. Kaylina, how you doing today?
Good, how are you, Dane?
Outstanding, thank you. What made you decide to get into the MJTours business? I mean, cannabis, what's going on with that?
Just being in the industry and seeing such a lack of education and patient awareness and where to buy the proper products from. I just really wanted to show people the insight into the industry, the background of the industry, and really just so they can understand the concept of the time the seed is planted in the ground, the entire process it goes through to when you purchase it at the dispensary, which is where we are today.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, it's just really important to me to show people where the product comes from, how it's made, how it's tested, how it's treated, so they have a quality end product.
And this is great. I mean, taking this tour, and I'm telling everybody when they get a chance to get out there, taking this tour, it's neat because if you don't know anything, really, if you not have to be a farmer or don't have to be really into it, but just to understand what they're doing and where they're going and really what they're all about. What got you into this? What got you started in this field in the cannabis industry?
Well, I'm a veteran and I suffer from PTSD, and I noticed that long time ago, 15 years ago, cannabis really helps me a lot. I was living up in Oregon and I had all kinds of prescription drugs, and cannabis just really kind of mellowed out my PTSD, got rid of my anxiety, and then I now just want to educate people and spread the word and just kind of interrupt that negative stigma that's associated with cannabis and let people see, you know, cannabis isn't just about getting high. There's so many other medical aspects to it, even CBD, and the health and wellness behind it. So, you know, I have a nonprofit, MJ Meds for Vets, and that is to educate veterans, to show veterans the different strains that help with pain, that help with whatever their ailment they're suffering. So
and they need it now. They need it now. Especially with a lot of these opiates out there and other drugs that people are taking that are not healthy for them, as we know. Again, with your nonprofit, how long have you had that going for now?
My nonprofit, I mean, we filed multiple months ago, but I've been so busy with MJTours. We have our first lunch and learn for the nonprofit next month. So we're inviting veterans, all local veterans, to come for a lunch and learn. We'll provide lunch, and we'll provide professional education to them, so then they can understand, you know, like I was saying, different strains help different elements, different ways to use cannabis, not just smoke it. There's tinctures, there's rubs, edibles, microdosing. And so eventually, you know, short-term goal is just to provide these monthly classes for the veterans. And then eventually we want to be able, once we start getting donations, to provide them actually with the medicine that will help them with their ailment.
I'm gonna ask you this, honestly, obviously you're a cannabis user.
Yes.
What is your favorite cannabis, your favorite flower, your favorite edibles?
I like OGs. Like, I'm an OG girl, so I like OGs.
Like SFV OG or sour OG?
I like sour OGs.
Okay.
Yeah. I like some Bubba Kush. As far as edibles go, Cushy Punch. They dose it out. They dose it out well. I'm a big believer in Outliers Collective, all the Outco products.
Okay.
They're a cultivator here in San Diego, and they do everything in-house. The Ricky Williams line comes from them. So they have real science behind them.
I like that. I like it. So what are we going to do now as far as MJTours? Where are some of the places you guys take some of the
Where do we
clients?
tour?
Yeah, where do you tour?
Okay, so for instance, I call it my seed to consumer experience, but I had to scale it back so everybody understands. It's my grow tour. It's just a grow tour. So we pick up at a coffee shop. We go to Outliers Collective in El Cajon. We get to see a 20,000 square foot live cultivation grow. We get to see a lab where they have all kinds of jars of just THC, terpenes, CBD, tons of herbs where Ricky Williams just makes all of his concoctions. We get to see an extraction, so they have huge extraction machines. Then we go to a lab where they get to actually see and understand from the scientists why it's so important to test the products.
Yes.
Where the products are coming from, why it's so important to test it before we put it into our bodies.
Yes, you're right.
We also have Buds and Brews tour.
Buds and Brews, what's
so
that?
It's not just about the science, right? We still have to have a little fun.
Right.
So San Diego's known for their craft brewery industry.
Yes.
So why not just mix a little microdose of this and a little microdose of this?
You're feeling real
Yeah,
good.
it's a perfect night out. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, so we have that Friday night and Saturday night, and everything's based out of North Park. North Park is centrally located, very easy to get in and out of. And I have all these great relationships with all these dispensaries and breweries, so we get the full red carpet treatment everywhere we go. Dispensaries, front of the line, discounted prices, breweries.
What is your favorite beer?
My favorite beer?
Yes. If you're drinking beer, maybe you're not a beer drinker, but if you do drink beer, what do you recommend?
Oh, that's a terrible question for me. I'm not the beer type of person.
We hate beer.
But I like my weed and wine tour.
Okay, what's your favorite wine?
I like Pinot Noirs, but on our weed and wine tour, we go out to Ramona. You know, we like to give business to the locals. So.
It's all about local.
Yeah.
Well, Kaylina?
Yes.
Thank you again.
Thank
MJTours,
you.
where can we find you at?
MJTours California. You can find us online. You can find us on Yelp. You can find us on Google, on Instagram, on Facebook. MJTours California.
Can you give us a telephone number?
Yes, you can. 1-833-MJ-Tours.
I love it. Again, thank you guys for listening to us here on Notes from the Underground with Kaylina and MJTours.
Thank you, Dane, for having me.
Folks, SDRC, come check this location out. It is beautiful. Stop playing. Get down here now. Check out the facilities and check out MJTours. Again, where can we find you? One more time. What's the telephone number?
1-833-MJ-Tours. And
That's
we can take you here.
Tell them.
We can take you here.
There we go. Folks, you better call them. We'll be right back.
How you doing? My name is Ozzy. How are you doing?
Kristen.
Nice to meet you.
Good.
Welcome
How are
to
you?
San Diego Recreational Cannabis. Man, how may I help you?
I have never been in a recreational dispensary.
Okay, that's
actually.
fair. Well,
Wait,
I'll make this as easy as possible.
is it called a dispensary anymore?
It still is called a dispensary.
Yeah.
We're fully recreational, so all we ask for is for patients or customers to be 21 and over, and they're more than welcome to come in. We accept large groups of 5, 10, 20. That way people don't have to wait in lobbies and they can all come in as a group together.
Cool.
That's right.
So, have you found your selection limited by the fact that you can only work with licensed companies now?
The beginning we did, but now everything seems to be working out for all the distributors and cultivators. They all seem to be getting their feet under the ground, under them.
Yeah.
So they all seem to be coming towards us now, and it sounds about right, middle of the year.
Yeah.
So it looks like everything is working out good for them.
So, you've been in this as, medical cannabis before recreational.
That's right.
Do you notice a difference in the demographic of the people coming in and purchasing products?
Well, believe it or not, the demographic of people tends to be a little older than myself and yourself. People are now coming out of the woodworks, because they've been smoking longer than you and I have been around.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that demographic of people coming out. Of course, you still got the young people, the middle-aged people, but then now you're bringing in the grandparents and the uncles and aunties, and that's nice to see,
Yeah, so I'm curious, how much do the new, recreational people know about cannabis? Are you starting at a blank slate? Like when you get your doctor rec, they at least tell you something about it, whereas a recreational user is just...
Very good question. A lot of people aren't familiar with the new laws or regulations, so they come in not knowing anything. So we explain to them that as an adult, 21 and over, you're allowed to come in and buy some product. You're even allowed to have 6 personal plants at home for personal consumption. A lot of people don't know that, so we're here to spread our knowledge.
Do they come in being like, I want a sativa or an indica, or they're like,
Good question.
I want to be creative?
Good question. A lot of people don't know the difference between sativa, indicas, and hybrids.
Yeah.
So we're here to also give them that information, because some people have had bad experiences because they smoked indica, but their body really wants a sativa,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
So when we show them the differences, that's when they really open up about what they want to smoke for and the purpose and reason for during the day, nighttime.
Yeah. How long does it take to get a new recreational person in and out?
Matter of 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Nice.
We have 10 checkout stations. Where you see in this inventory here, you're going to see it on the next and on the
so it's the same thing.
Exactly. So we could take in a lot more volume than any other store in San Diego. That's what makes us not just number one, but the best one as well. We're probably the biggest one in San Diego.
You're definitely big.
Definitely have the most checkout stations in San Diego. You're not going to have to wait in a lobby for 10, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes even an hour.
Yeah.
21 and over, you can come in. You can hang out in here with your friends as a group. You don't have to be separate.
No consumption, right?
No consumption on
here.
on the premise.
Okay.
No, ma'am, not at all.
Yeah.
Unless you're with
They're like, hell no.
MJTours, of course.
Yeah.
You can do that on the bus, but not in the store.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, has it been a problem? Have you seen companies from medical cannabis trying to get legit and compliant? Have you seen a lot of them survive, or have you seen a lot of them kind of drop away?
There's like Cushy Punch. Everybody's asking about Cushy Punch. Their doses were a little too strong on some sides, so I believe they're doing some adjustments on that.
Yeah.
But we can't wait to have them because people keep asking for Cushy Punch.
Oh my God, I just remembered. So now it's all limited.
Exactly.
Now it's only 100 milligrams per edible.
Per edible, yes ma'am. So the max capacity is 100 milligrams for the entire package.
Yeah.
Most companies are doing a package with 10 pieces, therefore every piece is 10 milligrams.
Yeah, like other states where they make you mark it so it's easy to break off and titrate for microdosing.
That's right.
Has any of the medical cannabis patients come in and be like, dude, where's my 420 milligram brownie?
We get some of those, but once we explain to them the concerns and the standards of California,
Yeah.
they understand. But even a medical patient, we welcome them with open arms. We give them a discount,
Yeah.
just like if they were a medical patient.
Yeah.
So they're happy when they come and they're happy when they take off.
That's cool. So I'm familiar with some packaged cannabis.
That's right.
I know Candescent.
That's right.
I've never seen Crew. What else is this flower?
This is flower, yes ma'am.
And is this flower?
That's flower as well.
Okay. Is this compliant
That's compliant.
to
yes,
have
ma'am.
a window
That's right.
versus fully opaque?
Correct, because that bag in there, it's already completely sealed, so it's tamper-proof. It's odorless until the consumer or the customer buys it, then they can open it up. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your purchase today.
Yes, awesome. Thank you.
Well, and I hope you come back and visit us at San Diego Recreational Cannabis. And don't forget your
MJTours.
That's right. We'll be here.
My first recreational purchase.
That's right.
Thank you.
I'll be here for your next one.
All right. Have a great day.
Hi, my name's Wally Wang. We're a Note from the Underground at SDRC in San Diego, one of San Diego's largest dispensaries. I'm talking here with Guy at Gemmacert. So Guy, you have this device. So tell me, what exactly is this device?
Well, thank you for having me with you.
Okay.
Gemmacert is a device to test cannabis potency.
Okay.
So you know exactly what you have in your hands, whether before you use it.
Okay, and when you mentioned the potency,
Yeah.
what is the range of potency and what are you measuring exactly?
Well, right now the two most important ranges which are being tested are obviously THC and CBD.
Okay.
The cannabis flower is much more complex than just those two cannabinoids. There are also other cannabinoids, there are also many terpenes out there in the flower. But right now, it's testing total THC and total CBD, and then gradually over time, with software upgrades, it will address other cannabinoids and other terpenes.
Okay, and so why would somebody need this device?
Well, especially if you're using cannabis for medical reasons, think of it this way: when you have a headache and you take a pill, 15-20 minutes later you're not going to have that headache anymore,
Right.
and that each time you take a pill, you have that same dosage in there. That's
Okay.
not the case with cannabis flowers. The cannabis flower is a very, very complex flower, and it's heterogeneous by nature, meaning that the composition and potency of each flower is different, even when they come from the same plant.
Okay.
And sometimes that variance can be quite a bit. And therefore, if you're very sensitive or you're looking for a very specific potency, then the best way or the only way today that you can know what you really have in your hands is by testing that specific flower.
And how do they test without this device? How would people doing it today if they don't have the Gemmacert?
Well, today it's really based on trial and error or even a guessing game.
Oh.
I mean, there is testing going on
Right.
by law in states where cannabis is legal, but what's happening is that they're sending out a sample from a batch to a lab, and then the results that are obtained are in the best case scenario correct for the samples that were sent to the lab.
Right, just that little sample.
Exactly. But the problem is that because there's so much variance in between the flowers, is that the results you get from a lab do not necessarily reflect the rest of the batch that's going into the market. And that's why in a recent study that was done by Johns Hopkins University and University of Pennsylvania, it found out that over 80% of the products which are today on the market are mislabeled, meaning that either there's a higher THC, for example, than what really is in the flower, or it's lower than what really is in the flower.
And how big is that variation between what they say is in there to what's actually in that product?
Well, the variation can be, in that particular study, I think was over 15-20% or more between what was on the label and what was actually in the product itself. Again, because the flower is so complicated and because the variation can really be sometimes tens of percents or even more, you really need to test what you're using, especially if you're using cannabis for medical reasons.
Oh, so and then people right now, they have to send off this product to be tested somewhere else, you said?
Well, right now people are trusting what they're buying, obviously either in the dispensary or wherever they're getting their cannabis. But we know today from the studies and from what's going on in the market is that there is a variance between what's on the label and what you really have in your hands. And therefore, the only really way you can be confident about what you're using is by testing it yourself.
Okay, so explain how this device works to somebody who needs to test.
Okay, well, this device is based on a combination of three technologies which we've combined into one unit. There's spectroscopy, which basically is a technology which is recognized by the FDA and has been used in the pharmaceutical, food and beverage industry since the 90s for a QA/QC testing. There's image analysis involved as well, so there's a camera in there in addition to a spectrometer. And basically, behind that, or combining the results from both sensors, is data analytics, or if you want to say artificial intelligence.
Like machine learning?
Machine learning, exactly.
Okay.
So it's really, it's quite a sophisticated device, which is combining multiple sensors, and then with sophisticated algorithms, it's analyzing a flower and providing you with reliable results for what's in that flower.
Okay, so then let's just show me how this would work.
Well, you'd simply open the device up. The key here is that Gemmacert has been designed to be easy to use. There's no sample preparation required, and most important, the sample is not destroyed, because what we understood was from the day we decided to develop this was that we needed a device which could be used in the market and not in a professional lab. So you don't need any special skill set to be able to use Gemmacert. You don't have to have a master's or a PhD in chemistry. You can simply be at home or wherever you are and test flower bud. Right now it tests whole flower buds, but we're adding capabilities so it'll be able to test also oil extracts in the coming months.
Okay.
So all you do is you slip the flower in, flower is connected,
Okay.
and you put it back down, and it's operated from a smartphone. The connection between the smartphone and the device is through Bluetooth.
Okay.
Testing takes around 2-3 minutes.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
If you were to test at a professional lab, then other than obviously waiting in line, a test can take anywhere 35-45 minutes.
In a professional lab?
In a professional lab, and obviously because you have to send the sample and wait for the results, the whole thing can take 2-3 days and cost quite a bit. But at the end of the test, the flower is whole, and then you take it out and you can do with it whatever you intended to do with it.
And it's not damaged or
No, it's
altered in any
not
way?
damaged. It's all based on optical sensors, so the flower is not touched in any way during the testing itself. It's not heated. It's not touched. All the scanning is done from a safe distance from the flower, and as I said, within 2-3 minutes you get results.
And how accurate is this compared to sending it out to be tested?
Well, if you go to a professional lab, and assuming that the lab is doing everything like it should be doing, then
Do some labs not do what they're supposed to be doing?
I think you need to really, because one of the problems in the industry today is that there is no unified protocol by which all labs are testing the same way.
Oh.
So there is no benchmark really.
So then you get variations.
You get variations between labs, and that's not saying that the labs are not doing a proper job,
Right.
but it means that everyone is testing by another method.
Okay.
So that's one problem out there. If you obviously there's in the laboratory, when you're talking very expensive equipment, professionally operated on a flower to flower basis, the lab will most likely be more accurate.
Okay.
Okay, but when you're either a grower in the field, maybe a distributor who's collecting a lot of material, or even a user, you're looking at an average of what you have in your hand.
Okay.
And so with this device, if you're going to test, let's say, if you have a batch of material and you take a few flowers from there and you measure them, and again, it only takes 2 minutes, there's no sample preparation, no destruction, so it's very easy to do. The average that you take from those flowers that you've just tested is as accurate as if you sent the same samples to a lab.
Okay.
So on a one-to-one basis, the lab is more likely to be accurate.
Okay.
But when you average, the average you'll get here will be on par with any professional lab.
Okay, and plus you get the speed and
You get the speed,
convenience.
ease of use, no sample preparation, as I said, and most important, no sample destruction. So with this, you're actually testing what you're using.
Okay.
Whereas in the lab, you're testing something, but the sample is destroyed, and then you're using something else.
Oh, okay. So you're testing stuff that when you send it off to the lab,
You never get it back.
they destroy it.
Exactly.
But you also said you had to prepare it. What do you mean by prepare?
Well, when you're using professional equipment in a lab, and you're either extracting from the flower to test, so then you're using a solvent, for example. Okay, so not only you're destroying the entire flower, but you also have a solvent which you have to dispose of at the end. You have hazardous waste. There are other devices out there where you have to grind the flower before you test it, because as I said at the beginning, the flower is a heterogeneous by nature, and therefore the active compounds, including THC and CBD, are not spread equally across the flower. They're all over the place. So devices that don't have image analysis like Gemmacert, in order to create that homogeneous sample, you need to grind the flower. Now, the act of grinding in itself obviously alters the flower, it reduces the efficacy, it destroys value if you're in the business of selling flowers. And when you're grinding, when you put the ground material into whatever device you're using, there's still material left in the grinder itself.
Oh, so it could have the residue from the past.
Residue from the past, or residue that you're left over and it's not going tested. So the mere act of grinding not only destroys the flower, but also obviously has an adverse impact on the accuracy. So that's why when we set out 2 years ago to develop Gemmacert, we wanted to do everything possible to have to not touch the flower. And the key here was taking spectroscopy, which is used, as I said, in the pharma industry for QA, quality assurance, quality control, but we added the image analysis. And the image analysis basically takes a picture of the cannabis flower and enables us to use the spectrometer in a smart way, so that we overcome the challenge of needing to grind the flower.
Okay. And you mentioned you can update. How would you update this device?
Well, the device is connected to the cloud when you're using it.
Okay.
So anytime we have an update, which could be obviously a software update, which adds analytical capabilities, for example, the ability to test a new cannabinoid, the ability to test a new terpene. We're also looking into mold detection. So anytime we'll have that added capability, whoever has a Gemmacert will automatically receive the update when they log on the next time.
So it's like updating a smartphone.
It's exactly the same.
Oh, okay. And so where would somebody find out more information about Gemmacert?
Well, right now it's on our website, Gemmacert.com. That's GEMMACERT.com. Gemma in Latin, by the way, is flower bud, and cert for certification, so that's where the name came from.
Is there any reason why somebody would not want a Gemmacert if they were in this industry?
Unless they're avoiding the truth, no.
This is Wally Wang with Milk from the Underground. I was talking with Guy with Gemmacert to test your cannabis to make sure it's getting the exact potency that you want to find.